Hello, I'm Janetta Shorter, the teller of tales that heal, and I'm so happy that you are here joining me on episode 12. Oh my God. So this episode, it's rainy and a little cloudy in Chicago, and I just wanted to talk about that imposter syndrome that tends to seep in when you are either actively writing your novel or you are about to start writing your novel. I just want to say it happens to the best of us. And this episode is really dedicated to sort of pulling the onion back on that, on those thoughts that creep in the back of your mind. I know for me, like even as I'm actively writing a new novel, I often, like the other day I was writing, I was like, did someone tell this story before? Am I telling someone else's story? Can I even write this now? And I'm like, I'm near the end. But these thoughts creep up, and I just want to I want this episode to be a shot in the arm for you to keep going, keep writing, keep persisting, because as you persist, that voice will grow dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and you'll begin to see how amazing you are as a writer, whether you're just starting out and in sort of the plotting phase, or you are on that second novel, and you're gaining that momentum, or you're on the third or fourth or whatever. This is the episode that's dedicated to affirming you as a writer. Stay tuned. This particular imposter syndrome comment or moment I am so familiar with. First of all, I want to say, to combat that, you are a writer because you want to write. Period. You are a writer because of the way you look at the world, the way you look at yourself, the way you view makes you a writer. And the fact that you think of things in terms of words and wanting to express, that is what makes you a writer. This is why you're doing this. I remember, and I often think back when I wrote my first book, Magnolias Bloom in May. And when I go back to it, there's times when I'm like, ooh, so many mistakes as an indie author. So many mistakes. However, I will stand by it and say that it is a good story, but there were so many mistakes. But then when I wrote In a Next Lifetime, I saw me change from the writer in the first novel to this new sort of more expressive writer. And then even as I'm writing That Day in August, my third novel, I'm seeing myself change more as a writer. My voice is coming through. So what's my point? My point is, you're a writer because you want to write, period. And I'll say that for the people in the back. You are a writer because you want to write. That is your purpose. That's how you see the world. That's how you take in the world. That's how you explain the world for yourself and for others, because you want to do it. But the other thing to understand is that you will grow as a writer. Toni didn't start out, as a Pulitzer Prize winner. She didn't start out, as that. Many of our writers that you see today, they didn't start out writing that kind of that blockbuster novel. And this is the one thing I want to say, that I love social media. I have a love-hate relationship with social media, because what I'm finding is that newer writers that come out with their debut novels, they're thinking that it's instant, like things are supposed to be instant. Oh, I'm an instant overnight success. And that does happen. But more often than not, it doesn't show the growth. I would love to see social media say, you know what, this is where I started with this much, and now I'm here. But the many ways that you have to reinvent yourself, you have to hone your craft, you have to develop your craft and invest in your craft. It's the same with writing. So, long story short, you can write. Why you're writing? Because you want to, because it's a part of your purpose, but also know that you will grow and you will scale and you will begin to get into the groove of your voice. And that's what you're going for. Growing into your voice and attracting the people that want to hear your voice. I have posted over 1,100 between reels, stories, posts on Instagram. I have about close to 600 followers, and this has been over a span of time of 3 years. We are so algorithm led that we leave no room for how, whether you call it chance, the divine, manifestation, whatever you want to coin it, we leave no room for that because we're being taught that it's the numbers, and yes, I'm not saying that people won't, that people seeing you and following you is not a thing, but it's another way that we do not leave room for our purpose to make room for us, right? I can say honestly that I have gotten caught in the numbers game. I do. And sometimes I'll just scroll. I'll just I'll just scroll social media and just be like and look at other authors and go, dang, how did they get seen? Well, why I'm not see, and the way that I like get out of that is I just come back to my book. I just come back to my purpose. I just come back to writing. I just come back. And sometimes I'll like my best post, I'm going to tell you, my best post, I did a post on Instagram the other day. And I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I didn't put, I created it or whatever. That post got over 528 views. That is like doggone near quadruple of what I normally get. And it was just, I took a snippet from what I did here in YouTube and just put it on there, a few little things, a nice little write up blurb, and sent it out. And it was seen. So you will be seen by the people that need to see you. And your only job is to make sure that you keep showing up, that you just keep showing up. Whether it's one, two, three, whatever, you just keep showing up and you keep showing up for you. And try your best as much as you can to move off the numbers game because those numbers are not who can't dictate who's going to be drawn to come to you. What's yours is yours. And the best advice I can give you, and something that I'm learning, is that you will be seen by those who need to see you, but you first need to see yourself and keep showing up for you. This one I'm so familiar with. So that day in August, the novel that I'm currently working on, I started out super excited. I was like, oh, 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 oh. And I was pantsing. I didn't plot this one. I was pantsing, first 20 chapters. But what I found was there were times that I didn't want to write every day. Shoot, just the other day, it was yesterday, it's Saturday today, Friday. I usually was waking up. If you've been following me, I wake up and do my 5 a.m. I'm sort of moving it down because I'm beginning to get the rhythm of how I write and how much time it takes for me to at least get a chapter out or at least a half a chapter. But yesterday I didn't want to write and I slept. I just slept. But like one of the things I had to do was I had to figure out what was behind the fear of me not wanting to write every day. Now, I don't want to take this too deep, right? Sometimes you just don't. It's just not the part of your brain that you're working from, right? Because writing definitely it's definitely heavy, heavy creative brain stuff. And sometimes you're just not there. Sometimes you're on the facts of life, right? You're like, I gotta get this, no, I got this. Like sometimes you're just not there and you can't. And I am learning how to not, in this like 2.0 stage of my life, I'm learning how to not force myself into things that I just can't do. But what I did have to do one day is I had to sit down and go, okay, what's behind this not wanting to write? And what I found, just being honest with myself, is that imposter syndrome of, going back to the first one, can I write? Like I really was questioning if I could even write at all, right? And so, yes, there will be days that you do not want to write, and you should honor that. And you should do the things that you're being called to do, whether it's maybe you need to concentrate more on the business side of your craft, right? Maybe you do need to just get out in nature and walk or go work out or take care of, pertinent task of life. Because the truth be told, if you don't take care of those things, you won't really be able to write anyway because your mind is distracted. But I would encourage the other side of that, sit with that I don't want to write thing and really figure out, like, is this sort of an imposter syndrome sort of thing I'm hiding behind? Because we can find, like, there's times where I don't want to write, but what I will do is I'll, make a mood board or I will create a post and, in Canva. And for those of you all who are marketing your own novels now, you know that you could spend a whole hour just creating, but like, and that could be the hour that you're writing. So yes, honor when you don't want to write, especially if you have other things to do. One thing that I am learning to do is to write a list. If I have other things that I need to do that's detracting me from writing, I write the list just so it can get out of my head. And if you need to do those things, take care of those things. But the other thing I want to encourage you to do on the back end of things is to question what's really behind you not wanting to write. There may be a secret imposter bug that's creeping around that you may have to face and get rid of. This sort of this voice or this sort of imposter syndrome comment, I understand all too well. And this goes back to my point in number two, where, you know, where we're numbers driven. As an indie author, you will do a lot of your own things. You will be the writer. In some instances, if you are forced to, you will be the cover creator, you will be the editor, you will be the literary agent, and you will be the marketer, you'll be the launcher, like you'll play so many roles as an indie author until you're able to get a small team or hire out, outsource to hire out to help push you further. But what's really funny to me, when I post my books, they get the least amount of likes. Like, if I post myself talking about my books, that's when my likes skyrocket. It is the most insane. In this like bookish, we supposed to be in this bookish era, whatever. I can do a whole other episode on how indie authors, I think, are getting overlooked. I have not seen people who talk about being indie author supporters. I'm looking at a sideline like, are you really? Because I have not seen indie author bookstores really support indie authors. Like, they're supporting popular books like the other bookish community. And I think I'm getting off topic, but I'm gonna stay on here because I think it's relevant. They're supporting big books. They're not really supporting indie authors who don't have the backing, right? And so I want to say that you have to be your biggest marketer. You have to be your biggest supporter. Yes, you will market your books, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to hold your hand and hug you after this. This is me holding your hand. We are still in a world, right, that really supports the big names. It's just what it is. And so, again, keep marketing it, keep talking about it, because you will find your community. People can tout and talk and say, oh, we support indie authors. They don't. But you have to support yourself, and you have to find your own community by the work that you do and the time that you invest in marketing your book. Just the whole point of this is to keep showing up. Keep showing up, because you will find your people, and word of mouth still travels. Like, word of mouth. People have, one of the reasons why I keep, on Instagram is that I have seen people who started from a little of nothing and their things shoot off because one person saw it, one person valued it, or a couple people saw it and valued it. So don't worry about it. You just keep showing up. You just keep marketing and get out there. If you have a novel, your first novel, second novel, third, or whatever, get out there, get to those book fairs, start investing your money and showing up. Get your book in the local library. Talk about that. Make your posts be about that. Keep sowing the seeds, because that law of attraction, you sow, you will reap. That's a spiritual law. So keep at it. Keep at it. Child, when I say I understand this, I really, really do understand this feeling of, you wrote the book, the cover is bomb, you priced it right, you did your market research, you did all the things, and you put it on Amazon where there's a million, quadrillion, gazillion books, and it's not selling. I know that all too well. I'm on to my third novel, and I still know it all too well. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's a hard thing. writing a book, putting yourself out there, the marketing, it's a hard thing. And people work feverishly for their novels, for their things to be seen. Like, they work so hard. So I want to just say this to you. And I think you see the running trend. You have to keep showing up. The one thing I had to recognize is, like, when I wrote Magnolias Bloom in May, I had to recognize that no one knew me from a can of paint. Right? Like, that is the thing that you have to, like, really understand. No one knows you from a can of paint. And just because you put your novel on Amazon or Goodreads or Barnes and people have to discover you. And so one of the things, even as I'm on my third novel, I am learning that, again, as an indie author, you have to do the legwork to get your name out there. I am not saying that you will not be discovered. I am simply saying that you do have to do the legwork until people begin to know you, and there's a buzz created about you. I have a journal line, the Queen of Healing journal line. And at one point when I was really, really pushing it, and I got to get back to the marketing of that, but when I was really pushing it, people would just randomly tag me in photos, like, I got the journal, and it's so, but like, again, like, you could do all the right things. And I've seen some writers here on YouTube where they're disappointed because they did everything right, and the novel didn't take off the way they thought. The sales of the novel didn't take off the way they thought. And so I understand that, but you also have to take into account that there's so many writers out there. I refuse to say that the market is oversaturated. It's not. You have to find your community. And once you find your community, those will be the people that talk about your novel, and those sales will go up. And then, like, one of the things I did research, on AI, it's not something that I frequent a lot when it comes to writing, because I think writing is such a creative process in itself. But I asked, like, how many books I gotta write before, before my stuff starts to sell? And AI was like, you gotta write at least five books to just to get your name, like, known and out there. So if you're just on your first book or second book or third book and things are not selling, it's because you got to continue the momentum. So that's the one thing that I am learning and I'm okay with. And in the meantime, as my name is gaining traction, I show up at book fairs. I show up at, at different, different events to push my book, so that my name is beginning to create a buzz, so that when I put on my social media that I'm going to be at this thing or that thing, people are like, oh my God, I've been meaning to get her book, wasn't going to get it from Amazon, or I didn't want to get it from Amazon because I don't support Amazon, whatever people's stories are, or whatever they're, them holding on to their own core values. But, you your first novel may not take off like that. Your second novel may not take off like that. You just keep showing up. You keep showing up and you keep doing the work. And eventually your novels will sell. And then when you get to that fifth novel, all of those novels you wrote before, because they loved, now you're out there and they love that fifth or sixth novel, now they want to read everything. So it's a long game. It's a long game. It's a long game. Just keep showing up. Thank you so much for sticking with me this far. Do me a favor, if this video rung true for you and really helped you to see where imposter syndrome may be sort of clouding your head and keeping you from writing or posting or keeping you from working on your debut novel, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, and keep coming back for more. But to round up this episode, I want to continue to encourage you to keep writing, keep showing up. It's not about the numbers. It's not about, who's sharing your stuff or not sharing your stuff. Who's, who's liking or following you or not. Your responsibility as a writer is to keep writing and to keep showing up. First for you. Know that your community will find you. Know that the people that's going to read your first novel, second novel, third novel, the rest of the novels, they will find you. Your responsibility is to continue to show up for yourself, to continue to hone your craft. And the way you hone your craft is to keep writing. It's just that's just how it works. And I mean, if I had to add another thing, keep reading and read wide, and you will find that not only will your craft expand and grow, but your confidence will grow as a writer. You will begin to attract a community of people that love your stuff, show up for different book fairs, which helps you to grow your email list and to grow your following. But the main thing is just keep showing up. And what you'll find is later, you'll keep growing, you'll keep seeding, you'll keep growing and growing. And then you will have the people that validate and look for your words, your books in your next project. So if there's nothing else you remember, keep showing up, keep writing, keep that commitment to you and your craft. I'll see you soon. Thank you for stopping by.